Hello, McMaster. I hope that you're all ready to go with your glasses and your wine. I have all three of the wines here. I'm sorry you can't really see them, but I have them all here. We'll taste together. I do have some food pairing suggestions that I will walk you through so that you can, you'll know what to taste with which. And I hope to have an amazing tasting. So I'll give you a few seconds to get ready, but until then, I'll just get started and talk to you a little bit about 13th Street and who we are. So we are located in the heart of Niagara, just in St. Catharines, just before Jordan, right off the highway on 7th. And we originally opened the winery in 1998, and it was actually 4 retired amateur winemakers that were friends and opened the winery, and they were actually located on 13th Street, and they were all friends making great wine, and they decided to sell in '08, and Karen and Doug Whitty and John and June Mann purchased the winery, and we moved it actually a few years later to 4th Avenue because 13th Street was actually a dead end and a smaller building, and we have expanded over the last few years. Every year it keeps growing, and we have a brand new wine bar, and our production is actually attached right to our winery. We have a farmhouse and bakery on property, and we are known for our butter tarts. They're absolutely incredible. There's different flavors each month, and we always have plain pecan, raisin, and bacon. So I recommend if you ever do come down, try the butter tarts. We have art sculptures and a art garden on property, and we have a brand new art gallery, which is just gearing up for a brand new show. We also have lots of property and vineyards surrounding the winery, so you can come on property and walk around. Our food service and our bistro is just opening up for the season again, and we're doing a to-go program this year, so you can actually bring a picnic blanket and a lawn chair and sit outside, order some food to go, have a wine by the glass, and just enjoy the scenic views. We actually have, so owner Karen Whitty, she was in McMaster for biochemistry, and Ruth Peters, our director of marketing, she was for sociology, and also in McMaster. So we have, which is our connection to McMaster, that 2 of our owners and managers are actually had great years there. We are known for food and wine and art, so that's something that we take lots of pride in. So personal experiences, you can have lots of different experiences on property, and I know right now we're just starting to open up again, but typically we would do lots of food and wine seminars. But I was just getting everything ready to go here, and I was just about to touch base a little bit that on our winemaker. So our winemaker his name is Jean-Pierre Collas, and he is actually from the Burgundy region and is famous for his Chardonnay, and he is making amazing Chardonnays for us here on property. So we can talk about the Chardonnay after. We're also known for Gamay. So for us, Gamay grows really well in this area, and it's so versatile of what you can do to produce it. So we have actually a sparkling wine that's traditional method made from 100% Gamay. We have a rosé style that we're going to have today, the Vin Gris, which is 100% Gamay. We have a single vineyard Gamay and a state Gamay, and we can even age one in oak and do a reserve Gamay. So we really love producing Gamay because it's so versatile. Myself, my job on property is I'm one of the sommeliers, and I'm the director of on-property sales and the wine club, which I'll tell you about later. So for me as a sommelier, Gamay is very versatile for me, and it's kind of my secret weapon whenever I'm going to pair a menu or food, because of the acidity in Gamay and all the different complexities that it does show. It's so easy to pair, especially with all the different styles that we produce. So I personally love Gamay, and I do collect it from Niagara. It's a great grape that is growing really well in this area. One of our owners, Doug Whitty, he refers to the Pinot Noir as the heartbreak grape, which is very well known, but Gamay for him is a heartwarming grape because it is really easy to grow for us. So we have lots of Gamay surrounding the vineyard, so it's really beautiful if you do come on property. So let's get started on some wines. So I have, I've opened my wine up. It's ready to go. The Vin Gris is one of my favorites this year. I have been enjoying it for the last few months since we released it. And it's 100% Gamay. It's from the Whitty Vineyard, which is a single vineyard just actually on property at 13th Street. And it's actually red wine made in a white wine technique. So when you make red wine, you actually have all the skin contacts stay as long as you can in the juice for about 3 weeks. And you want to stir all that up so it gives lots of color and tannin and flavor. But when you're doing it in a white wine style, you don't want the skins to be in contact with the juice because it will give color. So free run juice was, once a whole clutch of berries went into the press, free run juice, which means all the juice that runs freely from the press. And that is considered like liquid gold, really, really great juice. And then we did a really soft pressing afterwards, and which gave a little bit of that pink color, which you can see there. So we're really proud of this one. This is our 3rd year producing the Vin Gris, and we actually had to make a little more this year to accommodate everyone that was enjoying it. So just on the aroma there, I get lots of lemon and raspberry and white pepper. So let's go ahead and take a little sip. When I taste, I try to breathe a little bit in through my mouth and smell it as I'm tasting it, because you want to smell as you're tasting, but you also want to give it a little bit of a swirl so it hits all the different taste buds on your palate. So go ahead and take a second sip and just hold it on your palate for a couple seconds and take note of the weight and the mouthfeel, the finish of it. Is it tart? Is it acidic? Or is it, you're probably gonna get that right away, that nice juicy tart, like almost a little bit of that lemon flavor, which makes it so refreshing and easy to pair. And again, don't forget, Gamay has lots of acidity. I really get sour cherries, pink grapefruit, white grapefruit, lemon zest, a little bit of white pepper. I love that it has a little bit of like jalapeno on the aroma, but my favorite part of it is the acidity and that tart sour cherry. And this is what makes it so easy to pair. So on your plates that you have with you today, I recommended some goat's cheese. So I made the same plate that I recommended to you. So I have mine ready to go here. Kind of see that better. So the goat's cheese, any kind of plain soft goat's cheese, if you have any kind of goat or buffalo milk, any of that style really loves Gamay. So go ahead and try a little bit of that with your Vin Gris. And you'll notice as you're trying it, goat cheese has already a little bit of lactic note to it, a little bit of a sharp acidic finish, and then really soft on the palate. And when you marry that with the wine, the two of them balance each other out. And what happens is the acidity will soften in the wine, will soften in the goat's cheese, and you're going to get lots of tart cherry, but you're going to get more of a really fresh red cherry, raspberry note. You're still going to get the lemon skin and the lemon zest, but it won't be as tart on the finish. And it's going to really take the goat's cheese to another level. It's going to be very creamy, really nice finish. So go ahead and try that for a couple seconds. I also recommended toasted almonds or just plain almonds. Almond is that nut that for me, when in doubt, it pairs with so many different items. Almonds it's that one nut that you can pair with rosé, sparkling, white, or red. And a little bit of salt on the nut actually helps with the wine, because wine loves salt. Kind of balances out all the good goodness that wine brings and the bad that salt is. And when you try it with the Vin Gris, it's going to soften again any of the acidity and tannins coming from the wine, and you're going to get a lot more fruit on the finish. Now the almond will probably taste a little bit more nutty and creamy, and be a nice long finish for you. So try both of those. I do see some questions coming in. So when we finish tasting all three of these wines, I will make time at the end to answer all your questions. So another really great pairing with Vin Gris is plain chips. Sometimes we overthink some of our wine pairings and we try to make this really elaborate meal, and you don't need to. Have some salted almonds and some salted plain kettle chips, and it's also a really great pairing because the salt kind of will bring the wine to life and lots of fruit. But I did make some recommendations. So you're going to get a recipe at the end of this for a really great Scallop Seviche. Mexican is one of my favorite dishes to cook at home. Before I became a sommelier, I studied culinary arts. So I have one of my favorite passions is bringing together food and wine and creating an experience and making a recipe that's perfect for both the wine and the food. So the recipe you are going to receive is Scallop Seviche. It's really easy. I made one here so you can see it. And if you don't like the Scallop Seviche, that texture, because you're basically cooking the raw scallops in acid, you can actually sear the scallops and still do the same dish. So it's a spring pea salsa, and together the acidity in this dish is going to marry with the acidity in the Vin Gris. It's going to bring it to life. It's going to be such just really tons of cherries and raspberries coming out, and lemon zest on the finish. And the peas are actually become a bit more sweeter, and you're going to taste a little bit of the herbs that are in the recipe. So have some fun with that one after. And again, you can make it ceviche style, or you can just sear it and have fresh scallops that way. Another really great pairing, just to give you some things to cook ahead of time or another night. Any of you that like Thai or curries, green curry or red curry is really great with the Vin Gris. Because of the acidity and all that fruit and the lemon, it actually cuts through any of that heat that you may have in those dishes. Mexican, one of my favorites, is great with this. So if you like some spice, go ahead and throw the spice in. It's going to be perfect. Gravlax, if anyone has made Gravlax at home, it's basically like smoked salmon, but you're going to do the salt and sugar cure, and it's really refreshing with this wine. So have some fun at this. This one's a great summer sipper all year, and we do sell, we have lots of it this year available at the winery if you do want some more. I know this is on a hot day, it's perfect in the backyard. So I'm going to leave mine and enjoy that a little bit later, but if you want to, we'll go to wine number 2, and then I'll pour that one. I didn't mention the Vin Gris is it's under 3 grams of sugar, so it's basically bone dry, which is my personal preference. I don't like anything too sweet, so great for summer sipper. Don't age it. Rosé is not meant to really age, so just enjoy that now. So our next wine is our Gamay 2018, and this one is the perfect little Gamay, everyday Gamay. I love this one. It's $19.95, and it's gulpable. it's one way to describe it, and it's so food friendly. This is definitely one of my favorite secret weapons that I use all the time when I do food and wine pairings, even when we do dinners here at the winery. So this is 100% Gamay. Something fun about Gamay that you can actually do this summer, even though it's going to be a nice warm summer, is that Gamay, you can actually lightly chill this wine, and it doesn't change any of the characteristics that you're going to get from it. So go ahead, lightly chill it for like 10 minutes before you enjoy it, and you're going to notice that you're going to get a lot more of that warm spice, pepper, and fruit. So go ahead and pour this one. So this is we have a mix of different vineyards that we put in this one. And our winemaker, he's known for blending. So he does a lot of blending when he makes wine. So he'll put a little bit of each vineyard in different tanks, and he makes a blend afterwards to the perfect palette. And this one, go ahead and pour your Gamay, give it a nice swirl. And you'll notice that you can beautiful color, you can see right through it. It has a nice bright cherry red color. Gamay is a lighter grape varietal, very similar to Pinot Noir, but easier to grow. And you can see right through it. When you're tasting and looking at wine, white wine and rosé, you can look right through it. You can see definitely the color and the clarity and the shine. But red wine, to actually see the depth of the color, you actually have to look top to bottom. And it helps if you have a white piece of paper or white counter or table to help with that. So let's go ahead and give that a swirl and see what you smell. So I definitely get black raspberry, licorice, and fresh cracked pepper. Then go ahead, take a sip and just swirl it in your mouth for a couple seconds and take note of the weight and the mouthfeel and the finish of the wine. You're going to notice right away the acidity. It's very light and jammy. Excellent depth and complexity. Black cherry, some mushrooms, some leather, a little bit of warm spice. I definitely get that like raspberry, black cherry jam note. And again, it follows through with lots of acidity, which means it's going to be very food friendly. It doesn't have a lot of tannins, which is nice. So if you don't want to have any food, you can just come home after work and have a nice big glass of Gamay in the afternoon, and this is a great little treat. So for this one, we are giving you a recipe after, and I'll show you that, but on your plate that you have, Gamay loves cheese and charcuterie. So everybody, let's start with the goat's cheese again. So try a little bit of the goat's cheese with the Gamay. You will notice that because of the acidity and the lactic note in the goat's cheese and in the wine, when you marry them together, the acidity in the Gamay soften up, and you actually get a lot more of that warm spice, black pepper, really, really jammy raspberry, black cherry on the finish. It's, again, I describe it as like gulpable grape. And when we're processing, making Gamay, it stays in big stainless steel tanks. So there's no oak on this one, just stainless steel. And we leave all the skins on top, and we stir it 3 times a day for about 3 weeks. Just like if you're making a stew or a soup and you have all those flavors in there and you keep stirring it up, because you want to macerate that and make sure that all the juice that's been fermenting for 3 weeks gets all that goodness from the skins, because that's where all the nice, beautiful color and complexity comes from. So with this one, we try to say that, you know, wine is, sometimes we overthink and we try to make this really beautiful meal, which you can, but you know what? Gamay is one of those easy everyday wines that you can just have a simple pizza. So tomato-based dishes, because the tomato has lots of acidity, it holds up to the Gamay. It's also really great with stuff like chicken wings and barbecued ribs, anything with lots of that little bit of sweetness, and again, really rich sauces. So I guess you've all probably tried the goat cheese with the Gamay. So now let's try some chorizo or any kind of cured meat. I recommended chorizo just because it complements the spice the best, but any kind of cured meat would be great. So try a little bit of the chorizo with the Gamay. And you'll notice that you get a lot more pepper and spice from the Gamay really come out. It's not as jammy anymore, but the nice pepper, fresh cracked pepper really comes out, and you actually taste more of the paprika in the chorizo. And if you have any kind of cured meat, you'll taste a lot more of the salt, because again, salt and wine are really great together. So I'll give you a second to try that. And then when you're ready, we'll go on to the Kalamata Olive, which I also recommended. Now, Kalamata Olives is one of those red, they love red wine, and because there's got that salt and that brine, when you have that with the Gamay, again, it really marries with the acidity. So the brine and the salt in the olive actually disappear a little bit, and the acidity in the Gamay disappear a little bit. A lot more fruit comes right out, so it's very fruit forward, lots of jammy flavors. less pepper, and a little bit less spice, and you taste a little bit more of the mushroom note on the finish, mushroom and leather, so it turns out a little bit more savory. Sometimes life's busy, don't have time to cook a full meal. I will go home and just saute Kalamata olives, and the best way, you heat them up, sprinkle a little bit of chili flakes in there, some olive oil, and just zest a little bit of orange zest, because orange and Kalamata olives and Gamay, or any kind of red wine that's got some acidity to it, it really brings out more fruit in the wine and complements the olives even better. So you can actually have a really great little appetizer or meal, because sometimes you just need a little bit of olives and some wine after a hard day. So another one I'd like you to try now is the almonds. So that almond, again, is that nut that works so well with all wines. So when you try this one with the Gamay, now any kind of red wine, when you use an almond or a walnut, works as well. It actually softens the tannins. And tannins, has anyone ever had an oversteeped tea or ate maybe a green banana, and you get that mouthfeel that's in your mouth and your teeth, it's very drying? That's what tannins feel like. So if you have a very dry red wine, you get that same feel if you don't actually pair the wine with food. Now, any of you that are just starting off and kind of starting with red wine, Gamay and Pinot Noir are nice grape that is easy to get your palate used to drinking red wine, but it still has a little bit of tannin, so just having a little bit of handful of nuts is a nice healthy snack. Plus, if you roast them and put a little bit of salt on them, they're even better, and brings out a lot more fruit with the wine. No tannins, and the almond's going to be very creamy and rich on the finish. So have some fun. Sometimes I like to even roast my almonds, so it's a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil, olive oil, and you can sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon or cocoa powder, or even both, and it really complements Gamay. So a little tip for when you're making that at home. Okay, so let's, we'll put this one aside and we'll go back to this one at the end if you have any questions. But just before we go on to the next wine, don't forget that Gamay, you can lightly chill that one because it is unoaked. Tomato-based dishes, so pizza and pasta, really great with that. It even loves a little bit of game meat. If you like game, or even lamb or duck, it's really nice. But I would try to pair more of a red wine style sauce with it. Also, salmon's a great dish to pair with Gamay, especially the one that you just had. Traditionally, you do Pinot Noir, or depending on the sauce, but if you had like a Dijon mustard and a soy sauce marinade going on with the salmon, and then paired the Gamay with a little bit of like nice mushrooms and some garlic, splash a little bit of Gamay in there when you're cooking, it's going to be a really great pairing. So again, another great summer wine. So our last wine that we have is our Reserve Sandstone Vineyard Gamay. So this is one of my favorites that I like. Pour this one here. So this one is a blend of two vineyards. It's from the Whitty Vineyard and the Wilms Vineyard. The Whitty Vineyard is on property at 13th Street. The Wilms Vineyard is in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So a lot more hot temperature in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And here we still have, it's still pretty hot, but it's nice to have the blend of two different vineyards. And again, 100% Gamay, and it's under 3 grams of sugar. All of these are, so it's still on a nice dry side, but very fruity. This one has seen 14 months in French oak. And when I first started 6 years ago, I was able to have a chance to go with the winemaker and taste all the different barrels of the Gamay. So he actually had 15 different barrels lined up. We had to take a sample of each one and compare notes. And at the end, he makes a blend of, let's say, the best 8 out of all of them, or the best 6 out of all of them. So a few of them might be brand new oak. A few of them will be 2nd, 3rd, and 4th use French oak. So it's a really great it's a really great chance to see that our winemaker really loves that blending style. So I see that there's some more questions coming in, so I will get to those. I can probably look at those quickly right now as we go. What is the best way to keep wine? Keep the wine if you do not drink a bottle. I heard some say you can freeze it. So I wouldn't freeze your wine. It actually it will change everything about it. But you know what? On a hot day, you can chill it. So typically a red wine will last you about 2-3 days. On the third day, you're really going to start to kind of scent is going to become more nutty, and you're going to get more of a vinegary note to it. White wine has about 3 to 4, almost 5 days, because you can have it in the fridge. But there's different pumps that you can use to take the air out, because air is what is going to air is not good for your wine if you want it to last longer. So what I've even done at home sometimes, if I'm going to have a glass and open a bottle and have a couple glasses tonight and a couple glasses tomorrow, you can throw it in the fridge overnight and then just take it out an hour before you want to have it, and that will help preserve it for longer. So hope that helps. And another question here, does Gamay go with turkey? Yes, Gamay is a perfect turkey pairing. Gamay loves turkey. It's, you know, with all the different, you think of all the different condiments and dishes that you have at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's why we always like to choose Gamay. And like I say, it's the sommelier's secret weapon. It's going to pair with the tartness and the jamminess of all that cranberry sauce, the sweetness of sweet potatoes, and you know, beans and all those great dishes that we make. And turkey is just loves Gamay. It really complements all that spice and fruit that it does carry. So definitely try it with Gamay. And there's one more question here, so I'll just answer that while I'm on it. Do you whole food plant-based? So some plant-based pairings. So with Gamay, I would recommend mushrooms. Mushrooms is a great pairing if you do like mushrooms. Grilled mushrooms or sauteed mushrooms, I would even marinate them, and you can put different flavors with that. Eggplant's another one that you can actually marinate and put some nice flavors in. And you could also use some tomato-based sauces or marinaras on top of that, which is really nice. I also like to take nuts and use that all the time, because nuts act as that tannin and also bring out more fruit in the wine. Nuts kind of is that replacement of that mouthfeel that a lot of protein gives. So if you were to toast walnuts or almonds or even cashews, you could use that as a base to even like I use it in salad dressings as a thickener. I bread eggplant with it or different vegetables. So have some fun with some nuts. If you even do toasted nuts, let's say walnuts and Kalamata olives, you can make a fantastic dip as well and add some of your own seasonings in there. So I hope that answered some of your questions, and I will get back to some more questions after we get through this next wine. So the Sandstone Gamay, our Reserve Gamay, is one of my favorite Gamays that I do always have a few bottles at home, and it ages really well. Actually, both of these red wines will age really well. We have a fantastic library at the winery, and I'm so impressed how well the wines age. Our winemaker is always telling us to lay them down longer, and he's right. So the Gamay that we tried before, this one here, you could do 3 to 5 years, even go up to 7 years. It's going to be great. The Reserve Sandstone Gamay, you could do 5 to 7 years. It's just going to get better and better, and it's going to get a lot more of that warm spice, a little bit more of that vanilla, and the tannins are going to soften, and it's going to become more of like a stewed, jammy fruit when you age it. So let's go ahead and pour the Reserve, and let's take a smell. Lots of black cherry, baking spice, vanilla, and leather. Really nice treat on the aroma on that one. Really complex nose. And you'll notice on the color of it, it's a little bit darker, getting darker because of the oak. And if you look top to bottom, you can actually see it's a little lighter than what we think, but really nice, beautiful red cherry color there. Let's go ahead and take a sip. So I get that that baking spice, that vanilla, that jammy cherry raspberry note, lots of that little bit of leather and mushroom flavors. And you can actually taste a little bit more of that tannin I was telling you about that coats and drying of your palate. So this is going to change if you try some goat cheese. So go ahead, try that same goat cheese that I recommended, and you'll notice when you try it with this Reserve Gamay, you're going to get lots more of the oak, lots of that vanilla, jammy cherry, pomegranate raspberry flavors, less of that drying tannin that you just originally tried. And again, it's less of that leather flavor. And so we're going to try everything on the plate that you have actually with this last wine, because it's going to be the perfect pairing. So go ahead and try the Kalamata Olives with this one. And this is going to actually bring out more of a savory flavor in this Gamay. You're going to get more of a herbaceous note, more mushrooms, more leather, and the baking spice is going to really come through. So go ahead and try that. And again, the Kalamata olive will be less salty, less of that brine note in it. It's gonna be a great pairing, and you're not gonna taste any of those tannins. The Gamay loves the chorizo, which is really great. So if you had, again, cured meat, that's fine. We're just gonna work as, it's gonna soften those tannins. For anyone that's vegetarian, try some nuts, because that's the next pairing. You could also do a mushroom tapenade, which would be really great as an appetizer, and that's plant-based and vegetarian as well. So with this one, you're going to taste more of the paprika in the chorizo and more pepper in the chorizo, and you're going to get lots of pepper and warm spice, baking spice, a little bit of cinnamon, vanilla, less of the fruit again, more of that savory note, and like that leather and mushroom flavor is going to come really punch out at the finish on this one. And then to finish off with the almond, again, that's going to work with the tannins, and the almond's going to be very creamy. It's almost going to taste a little bit fresher. I always get a sweetness from the almond when I try it with the Reserve Gamay, and I get more of a vanilla almond flavor from it, because I think it really works with the oak. So you're going to get lots of that vanilla come through with the Gamay. So a recipe that you're going to get, this is a really pretty dish to have in the summer. You'll get this recipe. So marinated grilled halloumi. Sure, let's spill the olives on there. So halloumi is a great summer backyard entertaining cheese. So marinate that. It has lots of orange and fresh herbs in there, a little bit of chilies. And I marinate it for about 24 hours. You can even do less. You can even do a couple hours. But the longer you marinate it, the more flavor you're going to have in the cheese. The oranges are grilled on the barbecue. You can caramelize them in the oven if you like, but it just adds a little bit of a smokiness and richer flavor to the orange, and actually helps pair with the both Gamays. Then there's a little bit of orange skin on top that's on there. And again, the olives, the Kalamata olives, I sauteed with a little bit of orange zest as well, and olive oil, and just drizzle some really nice fine olive oil on top. You even add a little bit of balsamic flavor, and Gamay is a really great pairing. So that's a nice backyard treat for Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and it will go with both of the Gamays. So you will get those recipes after. For another pairing suggestion for this Gamay, it loves game meat. You could even do nice steak with this one, and melt some blue cheese on top of your steak. Lamb, really great with lamb. If you like a rack of lamb, I like to mustard crust it with a little bit of fresh herbs and some walnuts, and then sear that off. This is a really great wine for mushroom risotto and mushroom pastas, and throw in some cherry tomatoes into that, because it does really like the acidity from that. You can do goat's cheese or any kind of shaved harder cheese, or blue cheese if you're going to do the pasta or the risotto. Truffle oil is a really great little add-on to if you're going to do a mushroom risotto or pasta. It's really complementary to this, and brings out more of that mushroom leather earthy note. But have some fun with this one. You still can lightly chill it for the summer, but fresh herbs and just a basic pizza with fresh herbs. Make your own pesto, marinara sauce. You can put olives and mushrooms and tomatoes from the garden, and that's a perfect summer wine. So I hope that you enjoyed all three of these wines. I wanted to just touch base a little bit about what my passion is at the winery. I'm actually in charge of the wine club, and that's where I first originally started at the winery, and then I took on some more responsibility. But the wine club is really something that they're so fun to join. I personally write you a recipe with each of the wines and tasting notes and send you videos so you can enjoy all these at home and do more of these little live seminars and virtual events. And then once we get back on property, we do on-property seminars as well. But there's no time commitment, and it's 4 times a year, 6 bottles that are special releases and special wines that are members only wines, new releases, wines that are just specially made for the members. And some are sold at LCBO, but most of the wines that we send you are just at the for the club, and you get the convenience of having it delivered right to your door at your home or office, whatever you prefer. Just let me know. You're able to pick it up too, but it's free shipping, and there's no fees or charge for the wine club. You actually only pay for what the 6 bottles adds up to. So what I always like to say that is, if you're gonna drink 6 bottles every 3 months, then I recommend the wine club, because you'll get a lot of really great things with it. And because you are part of the McMaster team, we came up with something special that is only for you that are viewing the seminars today. If you do decide to join our wine club and you would like to have some more details about the club, you can feel free to email me or contact me anytime. But we're going to give you a welcome gift for joining. So we have a wine club only Merlot from 2016 that has been so 12 months in French oak, and this one is just, it's got like lots of that cedar and vanilla and chocolate, lots of plum and raspberry, blueberry, really, really, really delicious for any that's a red wine drinker. And you can choose, if you don't love too much red right now, we have an aromatique, which is something special that our winemaker makes for the wine club, and it's Pinot Gris, and this one's Riesling, but it's aged separately in French oak, and it's got creamy, buttery vanilla notes to it, a little bit of pineapple and melon, passion fruit. It's just a wonderful wine. So if any of you decide that you would like to be a part of this, you will get an email after, and you can contact me, and I'd be happy to answer all your questions about the wine club. I also wanted to just go over that we still have the summer shipment available as well, and some of these great wines that are in that. I see that there's some more questions, so I was going to go through some questions. So if there's anyone right now that would like to ask any questions, I can spend the next 10 minutes or so answering all those for you. Is there a certain temperature that each wine should be chilled at, or will just be putting in the fridge? You know what, you can get really technical on the temperature, but honestly, if it's a white or a rosé, I would just put it in the fridge. I always like to chill my wines the day before, just because then it has time to chill all the way through. Gamay, you can have it at room temperature, but if you throw it in your fridge just for maybe 10-15 minutes before you want to serve it, it'll chill enough that will be perfect for summer entertaining and for the hot weather. I have some more questions here. Oh, maybe not. So if anyone has any more questions, feel free to go on, and I can help answer any of those. To give you a little bit, while we're waiting for some more questions, I can tell you a little bit about what we're doing this summer. So we have an on-property chef that he's been with us for 3 years now, and he is making some cheese boxes to go. He has 2 different sandwiches available. One's a vegetarian, and one is a fried delicious chicken sandwich. The vegetarian is a roasted beet And then he does his own hummuses that he's actually really famous for, with lots of toppings. And then there's 2 great fresh salads available. And this weekend is our first Saturday open back in the bistro. So if you are around, I'd love to have you come back on property. Okay, I see some more questions now. Is there a specific year that produced a great Gamay at 13th Street? You know what? Out of all of them, I've been loving the 18 the most, one that we're currently selling. Last year we had the 17, and it was delicious, and it was a little bit of a cooler year, so it had a little bit more acidity. But the 18, it's so jammy and it's fresh. It has all the characteristics that I look for in a Gamay. So I would probably recommend definitely the 18 right now. One of my favorites, I think, in the back, 2016 was a really hot year and really juicy and jammy again, just like 18. But for us, our main goal is that each year we try to maintain that each vintage is very similar, so that it's a standard product for you that you can count on and always have very similar flavors and tastes every time you actually enjoy it and purchase it. Will you give up the ceviche recipe? Yes, so the ceviche recipe is, that one is coming to you right after this. You're gonna get emailed both recipes. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me anytime. You will get my email after the seminar as well. And I'm happy to talk about wine and food and the combination together all day. That's, I love my job, so anytime. I love the idea of the wine club. Perfect. Well, I look forward to hearing from you, and there's lots more really great benefits that go with it. I just didn't want to take your time up on here, but if you want to contact me after, I'd be happy to chat with you about that anytime and tell you about all that great stuff that comes with it. What types of barbecue food would pair well? So for me, so let's start with both Gamays. The Gamay loves like sticky ribs and any kind of barbecue sauce. If you want to marinate your chicken in any kind of hot sauce or jerk sauce, I would say the Vin Gris would be really good with that, because it does like a little bit of spice and heat. Something classic is burgers. Burgers, any kind of like mushroom burger or beef burger, pork burger, they're so good with the Gamay. It just loves Gamay, and it flourishes with lots of that spice and jammy flavors come right out. Sausages, grilled sausage is really great. One of my favorites that I like to do is just grill some portobello mushrooms and marinate them in some balsamic vinegar, and then I finish it with balsamic reduction, some truffle oil, a little bit of sea salt, and you can finish it with a little bit of goat cheese or some hard cheese if you like, but that's a really great pairing as well. It'd be lovely if you could greet my mother in Hamilton from Ottawa. Hello, Amanda's mom from Hamilton, in Hamilton, so hello. And then hi, I've been brewing beer at home for about a year now. And is home winemaking something that is done much? And would you have any suggestions for starting out? So for me, I wouldn't recommend getting any wine kits to start out. I know there's lots of them out there, but I don't really love the quality of it. If you're going to start to try to brew some and make some wine at home, I would definitely recommend buying juice from a winery or a vineyard that's actual real juice, and then start with that. I have tried myself actually about 12 years ago, and I actually purchased the grapes and pressed it and did it all myself, so it was actually the actual juice in the grapes that you're actually looking for. So it's definitely something that you can try. It's really fun. It's a great hobby, and as long as you have you can get some of the basic equipment to start off. You don't need much. You just need a few carboys and a few hoses and stuff. So easy, but have some fun with that. I have another question. Do you recommend any books on wine? So I'm a bit of a wine nerd, and I read an encyclopedia about wine. Janice Robbins has a great book out there. It's a book that I use to study with when I was studying to be a sommelier, and it has every country, every area. And for me, I like to revisit all the different countries, and it's probably too much information, but you know what, it's one of those really great, I like to stick with the encyclopedia style, but there's also some, you know, chapters I haven't been in a while, but I'm sure there is a few other wine books that, you know, that can get you started, even if you want to pick with a certain country and just maybe start with that country and then venture out. Something that I do recommend doing is, you know, every time you go into a winery or a wine shop to buy wine, don't get stuck on your favorites. Try something new every time, and try to, when you're tasting food together, try all the condiments and everything separate on your plate with the wine, because each item will change your wine completely different. Example, like if you're having a burger, like try the mustard and the ketchup and the relish and the pickle all separate with your wine. You'll be absolutely amazed, and you'll be training your taste buds in a new way, and you'll have a new appreciation for wine and food together. So have fun. Wine's fun, and that's part of what we do with all of our recipes on property and live virtual seminars. I would love your job too. Yeah, you know, it's a wonderful job. I'm in the industry now for 20 years, and it's absolutely, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And you know, it's, for me, I know when I first started drinking wine, I went to a store, and it's kind of scary when you first look at all the different options, and some of the labels don't even make any sense or even say anything about the wine. So what I love doing is teaching my members and customers about how wine, it's easy and it's fun, and I want to teach you how to make that really great experience at home, and how to learn how to taste and smell. A good tip is, imagine yourself, close your eyes, think about of being in a grocery store, and imagine all the produce and the fruits and the herbs, and just kind of visualize that, and that helps you think about, okay, so maybe I do get a little bit of you know, herbaceous note, or orange zest, banana, or you know, tomato vine, and break it down. If it's orange, is it orange skin, or is it orange juice, or is it the you know, the zest, is it tannic? So but have some fun with it. We love being a member of your wine club, and we are both at MAC. Oh, good. Oh, yeah, Jim, hi. It's nice to see. I don't see any of you, so I just see your names. I'll give you another minute if you have any other questions coming in, and I can love to ask you any or answer any more questions. I don't see any more coming in. Let's quickly look here. But again, if after this, if you do think of any questions, you are welcome to email me, and that will be sent out after this, so you can have, you can email me anytime. I love talk about wine. So, oh, there's one more coming in, and then we'll wrap up here in another minute. Thank you so much. No problem, Sandra. Thank you for joining me today. It was a pleasure to be a part of this seminar, and I was honored to be asked. So anytime, and cheers to all of you, and have a great summer, and hope to see you at the winery or a part of the wine club one day.